Here I am, Rellekka. I'm so excited to just kind of play the game in such a new and kind of weird way. Like we have potatoes over here, like a cabbage potato field. And maybe we can cook these or something on a fire. I don't know. And there's a fire in this guy's house right over here. That's perfect. Let's check that out and... Oh. Oh. Well, I think there's a mine over here. Like, let's check that out. Maybe we can get some coal or some clay or something. I think there's tin over here, so that's like a mining method. And oh, well, they they wouldn't not let me jump over this agility shortcut. They're what about the fishmonger? The fishmonger wouldn't. Oh. Oh. This is Chunky Gunky, my Rellekka locked extreme OneChunk Ironman. If you're not familiar with what a OneChunk is locked to a certain chunk, their starter chunk, until they finish all the goals that are automatically set up through this website. Once I finish all those tasks, I will get to roll an adjacent chunk to my current unlocked one, and the roll will be random. For now, I haven't really set a limit on what the extreme section means. For a lot of people, that means they're going to get all pets if they unlock a boss, or they're going to get all skilling capes. People will set secondary skill requirements. For example, people will kill 100 rats to get a singular bronze bar drop. And then some people will look at that drop rate and say, I'm not doing that. I need a method of getting this item that is less than a 1 in 15. If it's a 1 in 15, I'll do it. But anything that's a lower drop rate than that, I will not do that. I haven't figured out where my line there is yet, so it's somewhere. And that's pretty much it. I'm locked to this chunk until I finish off those goals. As for planning, I have done very little planning. I don't really know what's around here. I kind of just looked at, are there any awful grinds or skill capes or anything around here? And the general answer was no. I really didn't think much harder than that, so I have no idea what I'm up against here. I will say I didn't think to start recording until a few hours into this, so we don't really have any clips for some of those. Just a heads up. It's also why this next clip's gonna look like it was in the past. It's because it was, and I had to record the intro afterwards. I've been killing chickens now for the better part of 4 hours. I didn't realize that there's a number of things I needed to think about. So first off, we do have things we can attack at low level. That's chickens. It's great. Love chickens. We have basically 2 other NPCs that we can attack. We have the townsfolk, and then we have the Rellekka market guards and the general Rellekka warriors. The townspeople aren't that bad. They are pretty awful to kill, but it could be worse. The warriors are going to be much more of an issue, but the townsfolk, such as my man Lanzik here, doable. Due to us not having a food source that heals more than 1 hit point, we're likely going to have trouble killing anybody, making it entirely impossible for us to actually fight any of the people in the town. And that is because our only food source is cabbage, onions, and potatoes, all of which heal 1, and because we don't have access to any fires because we are not a Fremennik, we cannot cook any of them, meaning this is our best in slot food for the foreseeable future. All that to say, effectively our only way of killing any of the townsfolk or guards is to flinch them. And if you're not familiar with what flinching is, RuneScape NPCs have a very unique pathing mechanic that people take advantage of called flinching. The premise of it is that an NPC will always try to go north or south before it goes east or west. If we stand on a tile that is 1 up and then 1 over from where the NPC is, and because your character's behind another object, we can effectively not get hit. They will stand there, they will not be able to finish their pathing, they will not be able to get to me. Therefore, I can hit them, run back behind my safe tile, in this case a pillar. Then after a certain amount of time, when the bar above their head disappears, that means I can get another free attack before I walk back. So let's talk about exceptions, or the lack of exceptions. I didn't want to bring any items into the chunk or anything like that, so I didn't. Even though that would have unlocked some pretty cool and maybe fun grinds, I didn't do that. To get here, I did use the Edgeville lever to get me to Artie, and then I unlocked the Barbasalt teleport in case I die. That way I don't have to continuously do that trek over here. And then I walked from Barbasalt all the way to Rellekka. So we have a diary task on the Wildy diaries done already. And that's about it. We have a number of music tracks unlocked from the walk over here. That's pretty much it for unlocks. But for now, we need to talk about actual what do I need to do here. So if we take a look at the chunk picker, looking at tasks we needed to do that we've already done, we needed to do the Fremennik trials up to step 2A1, which is our talk to Manny with the keg of beer, which is just us doing the drinking competition and failing. So that was pretty easy. We just talked to him, and that's about it. Then we needed to get the liar drop. I'm not really sure why, because we can't really do anything with the liar yet, but officially we have the liar, and we did this step. Then we had to do step 2C3, which was talk to Sigley, the huntsman, and that was all that was. And then we also needed to fill a bucket with water at the Rellekka well, which we also quickly did because there's a bucket spawn here. Specifically, a bucket of milk. There are still a few remaining goals. We need to get the Black Warhammer and then equip it, which requires 10 strength, and killing Rellekka warriors or Rellekka towns guards with a 1 in 128 drop rate. We also need to finish up to step 2D in the Fremennik trials. What is step 2D? We need to get Sigmund's, Swenson's, Thorvald's, and Pier's vote. We've already managed to get Swenson's, and we've also managed to get Pier's. And that is because I already did it and forgot to record it. Swenson's was really easy. You just follow Quest Helper and it tells you to go through this maze. So you click on the places where it tells you and you do that. Pier had me do a puzzle room that I also just followed Quest Helper for. It was also very easy. I did mess up. Pier could have given me a way to bank my items, at least temporarily. I wouldn't have been able to retrieve them, but I would have been able to bank them in general. I didn't do that, so now I don't have that function. And at least for the foreseeable future, we will have no access to any banks anywhere. We do not have one here, we do not have a deposit box, we have effectively nothing all the way until I believe Sears Village is our closest bank. There might be, if we get the Keldegrim entrance, we might be able to get something there. There's also Barbasalt, which we could get something there as well. And then I think there's also maybe Justizo or Niesnot, but I don't know what the requirements behind those two are. It's also possible I could have used the range in there, because I was able to cook a herring that it let me keep after that. That's why that's in my inventory. But I don't know about that one, and even still, I think I only would have been able to use it once. So, not the biggest deal. Sigmund and Thorvald are another issue altogether. Sigmund's section of the quest is a small series of favors we need to do for one person after another, all throughout Rellekka, which leads us to Ascalad, or Ascalan, whatever his name is, this guy. And he will give us the item we need to finish the quest, all in exchange for 5,000 coins. As for Thorvald's section, we need to kill Koche?
Kashe.
The Deathless. The big issue with that being, he's much stronger than me. He has multiple phases. I have no access to food, or at least food that actually heals me for more than 1 hit point, just to name a few things. So that's pretty much where we sit right now. I need to kill a lot of chickens, and I need to kill a lot of guards. And I need to do that for a while. I have gotten a bit of time to think about what needs to be done still and figure some more stuff out. So I did a bit of thinking on how we're going to get that 5,000 gold. I looked to see what our options are. There is no way of getting money, really, other than by killing things with our current stats. There are some chests that exist here that require 9 thieving. I think it's 9 thieving. And there are a few other things, all of which we don't have access to because we are not a Fremennik, which requires the completion of the Fremennik trials to get. So, our main option is to kill Rellekka guards for a 15 coin drop at about a 1 in 3 rate, all the way to 5,000 gold. That sounds awful and not necessarily doable, but I'll keep thinking on it and see if I come up with a better idea. Okay, I forgot about random events. So there's a lot of different random events we have access to. We have the Quizmaster, as well as a few others that give gold. The Quizmaster, like here, is going to give us 1,000 gold, and there are another few options. But effectively, assuming we don't get the maze random event, we should be able to get roughly 5 Quizmasters to get our 5,000 gold requirement. And that's not too terrible. I just need to be mindful of that. The only downside is I think there's some restrictions on when random events can spawn, such as when I'm in combat. I'm not positive on that, but there was something on the wiki about it. So maybe I need to be mindful of that. I don't really know, to be honest. Get excited for a new era. It's Lederhosen era. Yippee! So in terms of minor goals we need to do, for many of the Rellekka townspeople, or my man Lanzig, we need to get the Bronze Warhammer, which we did get already. I don't have the clip for that. We need to get the Iron Warhammer. I do have the clip for that. It did not, my recording settings were not good, but here's the video.
Today we're taking the show on the road and we're heading out.
Oh! Other notable drops include the Steel Warhammer, and of course the Black Warhammer that we need to complete the chunk. Both of which we can get from the Rellekka Warriors or the Rellekka Market Guards. We could have also gotten the Bronze and Iron Warhammer from them, but they're at such a decreased drop rate it's not even worth it. Other than that, there is no armor I'm aware of that I can wear before the Fremenniks Trials is finished, nor are there any better weapons. So for now, I'm just gonna kill chickens and think about what to do. So I was just about to go try to kill Kochi?
Kashe.
But I realized something. I was looking around trying to find a low-level guide of somebody doing this quest or anything like that. And it did look like we could flinch him. I think. I saw that in a video, kind of. But the issue is, you're not allowed to bring any items down there with you that you could use as a weapon. You're supposed to do it with your fists, no prayer, all that kind of stuff. Which means, this Iron Warhammer and anything else I get, I don't know entirely what all the restrictions are, but most of the things we have, we're going to have to drop going down there. I don't want to have to go get another Iron Warhammer. It didn't take that long, but I don't want to do it. And that's going to be even more so when I get either the Steel or the Black Warhammer. And so I don't really know what to do. I can't just go try and kill him. I feel like we're just going to have to make that decision at some point that we're going to lose all our items to go try it. Or we know for a fact we can kill him and just accepting that we're going to lose all our items. Because that's what we're going to have to do. I think what the play is going to be then is we're going to complete Thorvald's section of the quest last. That way the loss in gear will feel the least important, I think. And it won't be necessary to, say, kill a bunch of market guards or whatever else. That'll be the last section before we get to roll the new chunk. And I think that's the best play. So this whole time I've kind of been under the presumption that the Rellekka market guards and the townsfolk have the same stats. And technically they do. They don't have the same defensive stats, though. They have an additional plus 50 on all their defensive stats. That makes killing them compared to, again, my man Lanzig over in the house, a lot harder, and they take a lot longer. So flinching these guards right now takes, I don't know, probably like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I'm not really sure. It took a long time. This guard you're watching me kill right now, some dude in Void who was on his way to Vorkath killed when he was like at 8 HP. Lessons learned. We'll just do it in the quarter from now on. I don't know why I expected it to go any differently. That's my bad. Okay, big discovery. I found out that if rock crabs are up, like if they are not in their down state, whatever, they will wander into the chunk. Twofold. They have drops, actually. Maybe not great drops, but they do have drops. A great training method. Something that isn't chickens. I got my more main account to just aggro, wake them up, and then leave. And I'm letting them wander into the chunk. If they wander in, I'll take them. But if they don't wander in, whatever. Like this guy, he just wandered in, we'll take him. And we get ever closer to our coin goal. So we take those. Okay, I've had a bit of time to see some of the drops and to gather my thoughts, see that rhymed, on the rock crabs here. Because I need to use another account, I don't feel super great about it, but if they were to wander on their own anyway into the chunk, I feel like it's okay. The ruling I've set up, because I'm just basically aggroing with one account into my chunk and taking it, is that if I feel like it wouldn't wander on its own over here, I don't feel like that's okay. So I'm limiting myself to this one spot, this one rock crab, that definitely, every single time, if it was up, it would wander into the chunk. I'm allowed to kill that one. I'm also just fishing for an excuse to not kill chickens. So I like this rule, and so I'm gonna stick with it. Of the drops, a lot of big things there. We have an actual food source, edible seaweed. It heals for 4, which is much more than any other piece of food I have right now, minus the herring that I got from doing the quest for Pier. So, of other notable drops, they dropped the casket, which has nothing really important except for some pretty big coin drops. So that will speed up getting the 5,000 coins as well. They drop a few other things, like a few different pickaxes, some ores, and some fishing bait, but currently none of those we can use anyway since we don't have access to a furnace or the mine, because once again, we're not a Fremennik, so that mine right next to us is not usable. So effectively nothing else. But regardless, this is a big pickup, and I'm very pleased with this. And considering now I have at least a few tens of hours of killing rock crabs until I'm a decent level to both kill the market guards and to complete Thorvald's section of the quest, I think I'm gonna call it here. I appreciate everybody checking out the video. This is the first video I've made in a very long time, so I appreciate everybody checking this video out. And please let me know if there's any helpful tips or things I just don't know or didn't know or anything like that. I appreciate all of it. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention there is another YouTuber who's doing the same type of account. They're doing it a little differently. They brought in a few items in the beginning and had a few extra chunks open, but it's still a Rellekka locked extreme OneChunk Ironman who's probably having a lot more fun than I am killing chickens and rock crabs. So please check him out. I will link him in the description.